Welcome to Real Estate Success DFW, the podcast where top producing agents from Dallas-Fort Worth come together to share their stories and strategies behind their success. I'm Shaune, Corbett, your host, and with over 300 million sold in the local real estate market and the honor of being best of breed multiple times, I know what it takes to make it in this market. Each episode, we're going to dive into the world of real estate, learning from the very best in the industry. If you're ready to level up your game, we're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey everyone, Shaune Corbett here with Real Estate Success DFW, and I have got a celebrity. I got to talk to my production guy that gets all these great talents on. So he brought me Ashley Hart. How are you, Ashley?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
So I tease a little bit. Ashley and I do know each other. We've known each other for a few years. We have good church together. So that's a interesting starting place, because you don't know if you've got someone that's actually successful or not by just talking and meeting them at church. But we're both in the same space. We both are in real estate. She lives in Double Oak. I live in Flower Mound, so we don't live too far from each other. But Ashley has sold a lot of real estate, and it is something I look for before I get people out here, because I want them to have a story. I want them to share experiences. You know, the audience is agents. You guys want to be more successful, and I find people that are open to building community and sharing their experiences, and she is not short of that. She's got a lot of different things she's doing. She's on the show American Dream. She's a host. If you want to see her, she's famous there. She's done 2 episodes, working on 3 episodes. Third one's launching soon.
Yep.
So we'll probably, if we've got any of them available, I'll make sure she gets me the links. We'll put it in this so you can follow her there as well.
Oh, thank you.
So actually, the one thing I always kind of start with, just to kind of, break the ice a little bit, is why are you selling real estate? What got you even into it in the first place?
So I will make this as short as possible, but I lost my brother in 2009, and it was unexpected, and he passed away. And I remember the people that showed up for me in those first couple days and weeks, and they really just get you out of bed, and they bring you food, and they put your shoes on, and they just make sure that you function from day to day. And I now get to be that person in real estate for other people, because when you think about real estate, it's really hard, right? There's death, divorce, job loss, relocation. And there's some really fun stuff too. I mean, I don't want to minimize the babies and the growing families and jobs that people are excited to move for. But to sum it up, there's a lot of hard stuff too. And so when people call me, they know and trust that I'm just going to pick up the pieces for them of the real estate component and carry them through the transaction to the closing table. And that allows them to focus on family and everything that's going on through the grieving process of whatever it is that they may be dealing with. And so while I don't love the fact that this is how I got here, certainly I would take my brother back 100 times over, I get to honor him every single day, because every time I nurture a relationship and care for families, I'm doing that in honor of my brother.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's a personal mission that you have taken on, and it's made it a part of your business to make sure you continue that forward. That's fantastic. I certainly didn't know that. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you
for sharing that. So I know your business primarily is focused on referrals only. Your social media, which is an important part of what you do, but it's really meant for education and sharing, not specifically about, look at me, I've done this, I've sold all this, I'm on this magazine, or whatever it is. It's really about what can I do to help and give back to your audience. And that's where a lot of people feel comfortable talking with you. I mean, we're in the same space. I know, some of the people at church that have gone through and worked with you, and they've all had great things to say. So that's a testimony as well. So what is it about you focusing on referrals as the biggest point of your business?
So are you asking how I get the referrals, or I guess what question can I answer there?
Well, you've built a referral-based, primarily only business. I mean, do you generally
Correct.
work with people you don't know, or are you, let me ask it this way. This is the easiest way to say it. What do you think your percentage of closings are of people that are specifically referrals?
99%.
Okay. And why is that?
I would say that I care for my people at the highest level. I think there's a lot of agents out there that miss the fact that you can really build an intimate relationship with people through this process, because you're taking their biggest asset or their biggest purchase or their scariest moment in their life, a grieving process, whatever, and you're literally holding their life together. And that's truly how I look at it, because regardless of if it's a grieving process or an exciting process, those moments are so personal to those families. And you get to be there for them every step of the way and building that trust and building that relationship. So at the end of it, to me, it's never just a transaction. People ask me all the time, what's your volume? What's your transaction count? I don't know and I can't answer that. I have it recorded and I have a spreadsheet and I do all the right things accounting wise, but that's not how I see it. I see it in terms of how many families have I served because I passionately feel that that's the way to look at this business. And so at the end of these transactions, it's not just a client or a customer or a buyer or a seller. It's a friend. And all these people continue to do life alongside of me. I invite them over to my house for different events. I mean, we're building a house right now, and we intentionally built that space so that we can host all of these clients in our house on a regular basis. And there's very specific things that we put into our home to be able to do those client events because I never want somebody to feel like the transaction's over and that's the last time they get to talk to me. It very much will be an ongoing relationship. And so my past clients know that. And so they feel comfortable referring me to their friends and family because they know that I'll care for them in the same way.
It's fantastic. I'll tell you one funny thing I think about, like where we live is nobody does family reunions anymore.
Right.
Did you have family reunions at any side of your family when you were growing up?
I can remember two of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the last 15 or 20 years, have you had very many or is just it's pretty
No,
much gone?
no,
So
it's pretty much
that's a
gone.
cultural shift that we've
Yeah.
had. And that's what made me think about it is I'm looking for my next home is going to be kind of that permanent home that's going to have a lot of place for people to park. We're going to
Mhm.
have land for them to be entertained and enjoy being together. And, you can certainly do it at your new house. There, I told you I drove by, it's beautiful. You can certainly do that there. You could do family reunions and you can certainly entertain clients. That's a clever way to kind of like focus on giving forward and giving people a space that they can enjoy.
Yeah. I just want it to feel like a home. I want my doors to be open. I want clients to always feel like they're part of that inner circle, if you will. And my first year in business, I didn't have any clients. I mean, I did absolutely no transactions that first year, but it has continued to grow and grow and grow. And it's become like an exponential curve, right? Because the more clients you get and serve at a high level, the more they continue to refer you. And it's not hard to stand out in this business if you do it at a high level, if you treat it like a profession, not just a hobby.
Sure. Yeah. And let's talk about that because you've got social media. You do a lot of videos on social
Yeah.
media. And I mentioned earlier, you do a lot of give back type things. You do training, you do things that teach other people anything about either real estate or something you can help them with. How has that been a big part of your business model and staying engaged and in front of your audience?
So social media is the only place that I spend money. I mean, within transactions, of course, all of that. But from a marketing perspective, I don't buy leads. I don't do anything like that. The only place that I'm going to spend money is social media because I feel like that is the very best place to put my efforts. And when I say I spend money there, I spend it on a professional videographer. Can you do it on your iPhone? Absolutely, you can. I found that I wasn't committed enough when I did it that way. Like I would take all day to record something and then I would record it 45 times and I would hate all of them and then I would never edit it and I would never post it. And so I just committed January 2023, that was my New Year's resolution, that I was going to hire somebody and I was never going to look back. And so, in real estate, things come and go and ebb and flow and funds have gotten tight. And at some point, I came to this crossroads of do I continue to do the video or not? Because it was a really big expense ahead of me. And I talked to him and we chose to keep going forward because I knew that that was the very best way for me to continue my business without letting it crumble. So I will say that social media is my way, like you said, of giving back and teaching and doing all the things that you mentioned, but also it's a way for me to just stay in front of people because I do business with all of my friends and family, and I'm friends with all of those people on social media. Even if they don't watch my video, it pops up and they realize, okay, she's still in business, she's still a professional, she's still producing, she's still doing all the things that we know. And oh, by the way, so and so said they need a realtor. Let me just send them a quick message. I just saw Ashley's face on social media. So for me, social media is less about the likes or the followers or anything like that. My counts are not the highest. You'll find plenty of people that are more of an influencer type. But for me, it's all about staying present in front of mind and being helpful to people who are looking for that information.
It's fantastic. Does that lead into like personal branding for you? And I tease you because you do have a easy name to personally brand in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Hart, Hart. How
Mhm.
do you really focus on, using personal branding in your business? I mean, obviously you see yourself on the social media. Oh, there's Ashley. Oh, there's that. How do you go beyond that and have a personal brand?
Let me back up by saying I have an unfair advantage because my degree is in marketing. And so I really geek out when it comes to branding, marketing, social media, all kinds of exposure that way. But my tagline is bringing heart to your home because I thought that was cheeky and fun and memorable. And I kind of created that when I first got into the business and it stuck with me. I don't know that I push my brand on social media. I more am pushing just myself, my message. I really want people when they hire me and call me to know what they're getting. I'm not going to show up in a pencil skirt and stilettos. That's not me. And I think that I'm very clear about that on social media. Like, hey, I'm a mom of 4 kids, and you're going to hear them in the background from time to time. And I will always take your call. It might be a circus in the background. I'll never drop the ball, but you have to give me grace in knowing that my kids are a part of my story too. And for the people that are not okay with that, I want them to know that up front because that can't change. That won't change. And also, I want people to see that and know that if that's their situation and they have a dream of pursuing something, that they can do it and be successful at a high level, and that shouldn't be an excuse not to try. And so I don't know that to answer your question, I don't know that I push the brand specifically. I'm more in pushing me, my situation, and what makes this brand unique.
Oh, are you on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? Is there any other media that you utilize?
LinkedIn, TikTok, Google My Business. I try to hit all of them. Not all of
So
them. Try to hit a lot
let's
of
talk about
them.
LinkedIn. I
Yeah.
Do you make use of LinkedIn?
Not at a high level. No, there's certain content that I put on there. There's other content that I don't feel is appropriate. But I have had a profile on there for so long because I had multiple professional careers before real estate. And so the profile already exists. The data's already there. I just use it to stay in front of a different demographic than what I would be friends with on Facebook.
I ask about LinkedIn because I see it. It's a business to business deal, right? So
Hmm.
it's more about interacting, finding opportunities, finding jobs,
Hmm.
finding particular people in that space that can help you as a contractor or other space like that. I don't
Hmm.
know if it works well in the retail space to find buyers and sellers. I don't know if it really adds much value. I use LinkedIn because, my focus is actually not looking for buyers and sellers. I'm looking for connecting with agents,
Okay.
and so I use LinkedIn to connect with agents, and I'm offering them a lot of free community and free connection and free training and all this stuff.
Yep.
That's really my focus. So I just wonder, agents in general, do they find value in LinkedIn when you're not really probably going to see buy? I see people posting open houses and stuff on LinkedIn. I'm like,
Yeah.
this audience is not going to help you. They're not looking for this.
No.
They probably
I
don't live here for one.
I don't do open houses on LinkedIn, but I will tell you a success story from LinkedIn. One of the gentlemen that I used to work with when I was at my previous role at Sewell, he and I have stayed in contact on LinkedIn. And he reached out to me and he has referred me 2 clients this year because I stay in front of him. I haven't talked to him in, gosh, 15 years probably. Our only communication is the stuff that I put on LinkedIn and that's popped up in his feed, I expect. So it's not that it doesn't work, it's just that it's a different approach on LinkedIn.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've made value propositions through LinkedIn because I post a lot of, videos and helping agents and things like that. So it's just
I
one
think
more,
sometimes
right?
it's hard to quantify. It's hard to
Sure.
quantify.
It's staying top of mind, right? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
objective. When you have,
Yeah.
I'm real big on educating on sphere of influence and how to stay in front of your audience effectively without selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not out there, you need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. That was
Right.
20 years ago. We don't
Right.
do that anymore. No one wants to hear that. So you've got to stay top of mind still.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, you have a lot of energy and passion in this space. Is there a perfect, we call them avatars, you probably can appreciate that if you're in marketing. It's your
Yeah.
definitive client. Who would be your ideal client that you would work with?
That's a hard question for me to answer because I would say anybody who comes in understanding my situation, giving grace for my situation, and also trusting my experience in the industry is a pretty good match for me. And I say that because when somebody calls and says, hey, so and so referred me to you, they said that you're the best at whatever. If they call me, then they're already willing to work with me. I don't have to sales pitch and convince them of why I'm the right person. I'm the right person because their friend, mother, brother, whatever told them that I was the right person. So my avatar has less to do with first-time homebuyers or investors or a certain area of DFW or anything like that. My ideal client is somebody that trusts me, not blindly, but is really hiring me to be the professional and to guide them through the transaction.
Okay. No, that's good. Most people can identify some specific space, but when you're
Yeah.
doing referral base, I got a good question for you. And this made me think
Okay.
about it. Do you have a buyer presentation or a listing presentation?
I have both.
Okay.
Do I use them? Nope.
I don't.
I even revise them, and I
Okay.
have yet to use them now that I've revised them.
I think you like the element of being prepared and ready,
Yeah,
but you may not actually use it. I don't have either. If you're referred to me, we're closing the deal, right?
right,
I'm not
right.
selling anything to you. Either you see the value in what I offer, or you don't.
Right, right. I heard a very, very smart agent tell me one time that he was in a listing presentation and they got all the way through and he thought that he had sealed the deal and that it was over and done. And at the end of it, the seller said, okay, well, we're just going to interview one more person and then we'll get back to you. And he stood up and he looked him dead in the eye and he said, I thought you were hiring me to sell your house. Call me when you're ready. And he walked out the door. And I was like, okay, well that's bold. That's not me, that's not my personality. But I took that and I turned it into, okay, that's confidence. That's knowing your value. That's knowing that you can get it done. And I've used that in my own way, of course, in just kind of feeling ready to take it or leave it, right? Like I don't try to sell people on me. We either work together because we think that we're a good match personality wise and you trust me, or we don't, and I move on to the next client. I just think that that's a really good way to look at it. Like every client, every house, every deal is not going to be the right fit for you. And being willing to walk away and being willing to recognize who is the right fit after meeting them is a pretty powerful business tool.
Sure, knowing your value proposition is
Yeah.
certainly important. And you know
Yeah.
that when you're having a conversation, some of the clients are asking for things that are well beyond what you're going to deliver, and it's not a
Hmm.
good fit. They may be asking for a lot more than what the expectation of the way we do our business. You know that that's going to be that way throughout. And it just ultimately, neither one of us will be happy,
Hmm.
so knowing that up front is really valuable. Talk about you primarily, you work as an individual. I think you've worked in teams before. What's your
Hmm.
perspective between, a team base or an individual base?
So I have been part of a team and I currently run a team right now. And I have also done the individual role. So I can speak to all sides. I think it depends on what's right for you in that season. So when I was on the team, it was an opportunity for me to learn from them, grow from them. They provided leads, but again, I never took advantage of them because that's not my primary way of doing business. I think as an individual, it's very hard and challenging because you feel pulled in so many different directions. And a lot of your time will get spent doing things that aren't necessarily the highest and best use of your time. And so even if you're a solo producer, I think it's important to recognize whether you need a full-time assistant or maybe just a VA to help out with some stuff. Do you need help with listing, delivering signs and lock boxes? And there's companies that do that, transaction management, all of that. So I think that recognizing where your strengths are and what you enjoy doing is super important. And then allowing yourself the flexibility to outsource some of the things that the clients don't necessarily care who puts their sign up in the yard, and they don't necessarily care about who puts the lockbox on the door. And just being willing to give yourself grace in those areas, just because you're a solo agent doesn't mean you have to do it all. The benefit of a team is that you have those people already in place. A solo agent is going to have to figure out who those are. But if you need recommendations, I know you could give some, I could give some. Like it certainly has saved my sanity putting some of those things in place.
Do you have a contract to close coordinator, or do you
Yes.
do it all yourself?
No, no, I have contract to close.
Coordinator,
Yeah.
okay. And
Hmm.
do you have VAs? They
Hmm.
utilize as well? Okay.
Yeah.
I think all agents should really maximize that opportunity. I really
Yeah.
do. Unless they just really enjoy that aspect of the business, I think your hourly wage drops considerably doing
Yeah.
those things.
Yes.
You know,
I've had a full-time assistant on staff before. I unfortunately had to let her go, and it wasn't her fault. I had some personal family stuff come up where the baby was sick and in the hospital for a long time, and so my production went down as a result of that. So I've had that. That was super helpful, just having like a right-hand man right here in the office with me every day. I currently have VAs. I have a marketing coordinator who helps with the social media management piece. I have a videographer, obviously, who does all the filming and the editing and everything there. I have the transaction contract to close specialist. So having all those pieces in place is so important because none of us are perfect, right? Like if I tried to manage getting the clients, the lead generation, the videography, the social media, the day-to-day, the email, like you name it, I mean, I would sleep even less than I already do. So there's just no way to get it all done.
yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. There are a whole lot
Yeah.
of things that I'm certainly not good at.
Right.
I want to focus on solving real estate problems. That's where I really
Yeah.
thrive,
Yeah.
providing solutions. Let's talk about AI.
Okay.
Are you making good use of AI in your business, and what do you use?
I am not making good use of AI in my business. It is on my list of things that I want to grow into this year, but it keeps getting buried underneath all the things that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So I would say I'm doing AI at the bare minimum right now with a very aggressive desire to increase that. And so if there are experts out there in AI, I would love to sit down and talk to them and kind of learn from them because I am not that person.
Okay. Well, it's good because I'm getting nervous. At some point, I'm going to have a Zoom call with someone that's not actually the person. They're going to have their twin come in and do the work.
I hear it's
Um,
out there, but it's no, it's
where do
me.
you
I'm real.
see? So AI has changed a lot of things. It actually
Yeah.
has made an enormous impact on our industry. And I think I want think about it this way. You don't have to be an expert in AI, but you'll have to. The ones that are going to have that competitive advantage at some
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
I appreciate, Ashley, that you really focus on organic and being
Mhm.
who you are, not trying to be something that you're not.
Mhm.
Your videos are organic. You come off the way you talk in your videos. Obviously, I know you in person. You
Mhm.
come off the same. I think that really is a good quality about you. And
Mhm.
AI can certainly denigrate some of that, right? And
Mhm.
I appreciate that you see that, but it can certainly make you more efficient too.
Oh, absolutely. If
Yeah.
I could get it to do some of the things that I know it can do, I just don't know how to make it do it. It would be amazing. But back to your comment about video, I think that the number one comment I get from people is that I'm authentic.
Yeah.
And good, bad, and different, I don't know. But what you see is what you get, and you're going to see that on video and you're going to see that in person. So, very much so, the person that shows up for your first appointment is exactly who you thought I would be. And I think that's so important when people are on social media. Don't try to be someone you're not because your friends already know who you are and they already like you for who you are. So if you're on social media as somebody different, they're gonna smell that out pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Well, and it's disingenuous, right? Then that the bigger part is that you want to connect with an audience that likes who you are on the video, because if that's who you are, then you're going to connect.
That's right.
That's really
That's
kind
right.
of the thing, right? They know who you are. They don't probably even need to watch it. They know you sell real estate. But the ones
Mhm.
they don't, when they find out, oh my gosh, you're mean, right? Or
Yeah.
you're putting on a face that's not,
Yeah.
authentic, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, where do you see the future of what we're doing? Do you feel like in the next year or two, things are going to look a lot different, or you feel like they're all going to look about this at this pace, what we're doing, how we're doing real estate? Do you feel like at some point that maybe real estate agency goes away? Maybe we get replaced with something else. Maybe, what do you see the future in real estate?
I think there's a lot of pieces to that. I think that there's a lot of fear around it, but no, I don't think real estate agents are going away. I think if you ask online, everybody thinks that they can do it themselves, but if they could do it themselves, then they would already be doing it themselves. I think that not all agents are created equally. Some are definitely more professional than others. I did meet with somebody who was a sign call the other day, and I showed up at the house and he said, "Thank you for being a professional." And I said, "Well, you're welcome, but do you mind telling me a little bit about what you mean?" And he said, "You're the only person that took my call, that called me back, that showed up on time, and that introduced themselves when they arrived." You guys, that is so simple. Like, how do we
Oh,
not do that as a profession? I think that when you take it as if that's the fundamental basis of being a real estate agent, no wonder people think that they can do it on their own. But then you layer onto that, like you and I, our value is not in opening doors and it's not in finding the houses online. Anybody can do that. They have the same tools that we have. Our value is in the contracts and the negotiations and really explaining to people like if you mark this box in paragraph whatever and you move over here and you mark this box over here, well then this triggers this and XYZ and here's all the different outs in the contract. And I tell people there's over 30 outs in a contract depending on the type of financing you're using. And if you don't know what those are, you have no business representing yourself. And I think that unless and until people start to see us as a profession and see enough people doing our profession at a high level that we are always going to carry that scarlet letter of, not being needed or anything like that. I do think that AI is going to radically transform this industry. And so that's why it's a goal of mine is to stay ahead of that curve. But I don't think that anything will ever replace the emotional connection that I form with my clients because that is so ingrained in just who I am and why I do this. And if that ever goes away, I don't know that I want to be in this industry, right? Like I can't take my core value of honoring my brother and turn that over to AI. It doesn't translate, it doesn't work. And so if that's where real estate ends up in 5, 10, 15 years, then I'm probably not the right fit for real estate at that point.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that's a
And I
really
doubt it,
long-winded
right? I mean,
answer.
you're talking data driven
Yeah.
versus, emotional driven, connection
Yep.
driven.
Yep.
And real estate certainly has a big aspect, especially the buying and selling of real estate for people. You're right. That's not something that can be duplicated or created at this point.
Yep.
AI in general doesn't have a purpose driven aspect. It's a data machine.
Mhm.
It repeats back things that we need back from it, and it organizes it. It's very logical and it has a lot of good responses and things it can do, but it can't really drive to the purpose of and reasoning for things. So certainly that's an important component. And the other thing, if you were to try to buy a home without an agent, you could run it through a program, but it would be hundreds and hundreds of pages because it has to consider all the nuances
Right.
that we already know the nuances. We don't have to spend all the time going through all that,
Right.
because
Well, and
we've done it.
I've never done two transactions that are the same. And so
Correct.
there are nuances and then there are, oh my gosh, well, this and this, okay, that must come together like this. And there's no way AI can replicate that to the level that a professional could do it.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. You've got you're in a season of life. You don't. I know you're like, what is he gonna ask?
Yeah, I know.
You're in a season of life where you have 4 kids.
I have 4 kids.
You have 4 kids. I'm seeing them all, but they're all separate, right? Because
Yeah.
so you've got 4 kids. That's obviously taking up a considerable amount of your time, especially they're all young age.
Mhm.
What would you say is a hobby or something you can do outside of childcare?
Take a nap.
Nap
No,
is
truly, yeah.
yeah.
Nap would be top of my list right now. My eyes closed for 37 minutes last night. Like, I am at the point where I am just so tired. I mean, summer in real estate is like tax season for accountants. We are just running absolutely crazy. So hobbies have had to go on the back burner because when I'm not focusing on my clients or caring for my children, a nap is the very first thing that I would do. Maybe a snack too. I had a protein bar at 1:30 last night and we called that dinner. So I just, I am, I'm in a very, very hard, very busy season. But I also know that it's not forever. And I know that there's a lot of good that comes from showing my girls that it is possible and that it's not one or the other, it's both and.
But if you had the freedom, I think you mentioned to me offline CrossFit.
CrossFit. I love CrossFit.
Yeah, if you had the freedom to be able to do
Yeah.
that,
Yep.
I think that's one of the things you talked about.
Yep. There was a year where well, first of all, I love CrossFit. I would be in the gym every single day. It's my absolute favorite thing to do for a lot of reasons. But there was a year where I closed 10 transactions from a CrossFit gym. It was one referral that led to another referral who then had a friend over here. And like we all did classes together and word got around. And it just, it's amazing in so many ways. It fills up so many different buckets of mine. And I'm really looking forward to the day that I get to go back.
And you are making the move, one street over. Funny, it's just one street over, but it is a bigger place. It has a
Yeah.
bigger opportunity. It has a pool.
Mhm.
You're doing the outdoor entertainment space. What do you plan to do with this with your clients? Because we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
How do you want to make use of your space and your house and the way you designed it?
Yep.
You've got specific things that you put into it, to
Mhm.
benefit as a benefit to clients in creating gatherings. Are you
Yep.
planning on doing annual events? What do you want to do?
A couple things. So I have this idea. I don't know if we'll make it in time, but I want to do what's called the Hart Hoedown, where I bring in a dance instructor for kids and a dance instructor for the adults and have just kind of a family event. We have this huge shop that we're building, and my husband is building it for his purposes, but little does he know I'm probably going to take it over from time to time for my purposes. And I just think it would be so fun to have like a fall type festival where people come over and just have barbecue and have dance lessons and just kind of hang out. So that's one idea that I have working. I did a very open floor plan through the middle in hopes of hosting things from the church because I think just having that community within the walls of my house is important. And my daughter actually asked the other day, she's like, Mom, do you think we could start a Bible study? I'm like, absolutely. Like, I don't know when we'll do it. It might be 3 a.m. on a Saturday, but we will find the time to do a Bible study. And so that's an important thing for me. We have put a giant bunk room upstairs so that we can host people that need a
Overnight.
space that need something, whether that's, I don't know. It's designed for kids, but it's open for all things. And my thought up there is maybe a mom's event where you drop your kids off at school and then you come over and we're just going to binge watch movies for a couple hours and just hang out and regroup. Because that may sound weird to some people, but all of these people that I do business with have all become friends that I know I could call in any given day and hang out with them, dinner, breakfast, brunch, poolside, whatever. Some of them I would even travel with. Like, there's not any client that I can think of where we have gone through a transaction and I would not feel comfortable inviting them into my house. And so the shop has also been designed intentionally to host our local fire department and police department because they do banquets. And I just want to find ways to help them feel more welcomed in the community because there's been a couple events where they maybe did not feel like they were at home. And so for me, it is so, so important to create that space within the walls of my home to show my children the importance of it, but also to nurture and build those relationships within the business.
I love it. Yeah, the community aspect is something it's lacking everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not doing family reunions anymore. Even within brokerages, most of them kind of fall apart on staying connected with other agents and growing, and then obviously doing that with your clients. It's all that's really good ways to get back and really pour out your natural organic self. I think it's great,
Yeah.
fantastic. How do we find you? What's the best place to go find you at? I know you're on social media.
Social
You've
media.
got a good handle you want to share.
Ashley Hart Realtor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashley Hart Realtor. And again, I'm going to try to post links to your American Dream. I think that's a great thing to lead into.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share before we jump off?
I don't think so. I actually, yes, there's one thing. Do the thing that you're passionate about and do the thing that feels fun and feels right to you because you'll hear within your brokerage all the different ways to lead generate. And that can be farming, door knocking, open houses. I mean, I could go on and on about all the different ways to lead generate. And they're great and they work, but they didn't work for me. And I got through 1 year of business with no clients and I was feeling really defeated. And I looked at my husband, I said, I can't do this. Like, tried it, put a year in, not going to work. He said, yes, you can. And he coached me a little bit on, exactly what I'm saying right now. And he said, stick with it because you're going to be great. It's a new business. It takes time. Just stick with it. And it did. It grew exponentially from there. So don't feel like just because one strategy wasn't successful that you're not going to be successful. Pick something that you're passionate about, go all in, and then watch it grow from there.
It's valuable advice from Ashley Hart. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you all of you for watching this episode with us with Ashley. She's got her contact information in here if you want to follow up with her. And until next week, thank you for joining us. If you've not subscribed, please do. Real Estate Success DFW. I'm on all the major sites: Spotify, Google, Apple, and of course YouTube. So until next week, have a high performance week. Thank you. That wraps up another episode of Real Estate Success DFW. I hope you're leaving with new insights that push your real estate career forward. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with fellow agents who's ready to succeed. And if you're interested in working together or have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly. My personal phone is 214-228-0383. Let's connect and make real estate success happen together. Until next time, keep pushing forward. I'm Shaune Corbett, and this is the Real Estate Success DFW. Have a high performance week.